let's talk about a new proposal from the NCAA. It's not quite firmed up yet. It's not actually on the books, but it looks like it's inevitable that it's going to happen. And that is that the NCAA has voted for a single football transfer portal window. Now, this window would happen in January, right in the middle of the college football playoff. It'll be a 10-day period that opens on January 2nd of next year, 2026, one day after the college football playoff quarterfinals are completed. So semifinals and a final to be played, and the Division I Administrative Committee must approve this legislative change before it can take effect, but that vote is expected to occur before next month, October 1st. Now, this is the interesting part about this, because the committee is also proposing making in the entire month of December a recruiting dead period. That would mean coaches could still have contact with recruits, but they're not permitted to do on or off-campus recruiting visits, recruiting visits or evaluations, which has been a hallmark of what December is usually entailed for a lot of these coaches. A lot of coaches have been fed up with kind of the convoluted nature of what December turns into, because you're recruiting high school players, transfer portal, bowl preparations, finals. There's a lot going on in the month of December, and they wanted to take some of the things off their plate. But the problem is, I look at this as a net negative for the players involved, because think about it. If they get through finals, which a lot of finals, very rarely do you have a final that extends past Christmas for any college athlete. So you get done with your finals, then you go home for the Christmas holiday, and then you're probably thinking, okay, what's my future hold in college football? And then January 2nd, bam, you got to make your decision if you're going to go in the portal over the next 10 days. That obviously is a problem, because programs and universities like BYU, well, they start their winter semester in early January, right when this portal window is opening, in theory. I look at this, and the other thing about it is the spring portal that has been open has been kind of the big bugaboo that coaches have been bemoaning. Guys like Bronco Mendenhall closed down literally every facet of spring ball this past year to avoid anybody, I'm talking about anybody, getting eyes on his athletes with the chance that the spring portal window opens, they get enticed to enter the portal. And it happens. There's enticements, and then they leave and hurt Utah State. He shut it down. Other coaches have followed a similar path. BYU, I think, looks at this, and I'm sure that Kalani Sitake, he likes the idea of streamlining the calendar to allow for that single portal window. But I look at it from the athlete perspective. This is a really, really bad deal, because once again, it's a 10-day window. You got to make a determination on what your future is going to hold right then and there. And then you're stuck until the next year. No matter how things go in spring ball, if you decide to stick around, your coaches are telling you, hey, we believe in you, son. Come play for us. We'll see how spring ball goes, and we'll make sure that you have an opportunity. And then spring ball comes. Let's say you don't get that opportunity and you feel burned by those coaches. Well, guess what? You're stuck until the end of the entire next season before you can really do anything about it. So I look at this and say, okay, I understand why the coaches want this, because once again, it gives coaches more control of their rosters. And that, let's be honest, that's the kind of the whole deal with this is coaches. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing per se, but coaches want control, and they want to be able to control their rosters as much as possible. I understand all that, but having player movement, the freedom of player movement, it's been a major boon to not stabilizing, but to leveling the playing field in college football. The likes of Alabama and the big bad SEC, their days of dominating the sport feel like they're teetering. And I'm sure that their coaches are all about something like this, where it, once again, provides stability with their rosters, where they can hook guys, keep them in their programs for longer. Previously, with the two portal windows, and the portal windows actually used to be much longer than before. I think, last year the winter transfer portal was December 9th through the 28th. So 3 full weeks, roughly, the window being open. And then the spring portal window was a 10-day window. It allowed guys to have the freedom of movement after the season and obviously after spring ball to make the decision of what's best for them. That's where I come down on this. I'm on the side of the athlete. And I understand, once again, why coaches, administrators, university officials, and the like would like to have this calendar shortened up and make it a smaller window, because obviously, like I said, it streamlines the whole process of keeping guys in school, on these rosters, in these programs, and obviously keeping the continuity rolling. But once again, this is a multi-billion-dollar entity that has been built on the back of these athletes. And I'm not saying that the athletes are hurting, because trust me, with NIL in play now, the expansion of the revenue sharing and everything, athletes are making more money than any other era of college athlete out there has ever made. But still, there is just some small part of me that says This is a bad thing. And if I'm the players, if I have a say in this, I'm telling the NCAA, hey, pump the brakes on this. You got to consider what it's going to do to the sport and to what we want as athletes. I don't know. Maybe I'm up in the night about this, but I read this and say, okay, I understand why everybody, speaking of them from the university side of things, coaches, administrators, the people running the universities, they want this. Because once again, it gives them more control and kind of more of a stronger hand on the leash, as it were, of keeping players in their program. But man, this is I understand that December was a really tough time, but let me issue a proposal before you guys say, well, what do you propose, Jake? There needs to be 2 windows still. But you know what the windows need to be? They need to be during the summer and then after the season still. Now, does it need to be here in January? Maybe so, because once again, I think these coaches are being overwhelmed with how crazy the month of December can be. Like I said, with practices, finals, transfer portal, the early signing window for high school athletes, etc. Yeah, there's a lot on their plate during that window, in addition to the fact that it's the holiday season. But I also look at it and say, hey, maybe you should open that window up in the summer at some point to allow these athletes, maybe before training camp. Maybe you do it in June or something like that. Then once again, it creates more problems because coach, once again, you still have the player movement, but I think you still need to have 2 windows. Maybe it still needs to be after spring ball. There's no right answer in all of this, but you can't expect me to believe that football players out there, and this may extend to other athletes in the transfer portal era, are going to say, you know what? We've had freedom of movement twice a year since you guys instituted the transfer portal here. Oh, and now you're going to nix it and makes it a 1 day, not a 1 day, a 10-day window in the middle of, the beginning of January. Tough sell if I'm speaking from the athlete's perspective, but maybe the athletes are all for it. I really don't think that this has been well thought out from at least everybody's best interest side of things. Once again, the coaches, they voted unanimously for this. And I get why, because once again, it gives players and coaches, it gives them more time to focus on finishing their season while preserving the opportunity for players to transfer to their new school for the spring semester. But BYU, I think their winter semester, doesn't it start like right after New Year's right there? That's going to be really tough because you're going to have guys wanting to hit the portal, and they're going to be kind of lingering out there, because once you enter the portal, doesn't mean you immediately have to come out of the portal. You can be in the portal for a matter of weeks, days, hours, however long it takes to find your next opportunity. And when you find that next opportunity, how quickly can you get enrolled? Do you have to wait until spring term begins? Do you have to finish out that winter semester at your previous university? Once again, I just don't see this being the right thing for all parties involved. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Sound off in the comments and let me know if I'm up in the night. But I just don't see where this is a positive, especially from the athlete side of things, to narrow this into just one window. Now, that 10 days, it'll be absolutely explosive because you'll have even more athletes jumping in the portal in a much smaller time frame. But still, it doesn't sit right with me in terms of the freedom of player movement we've had for quite some time, and then willingly giving back some of that control to the administrators, the coaches, and the like, who have really kind of been the lords of the manor in that respect for decades before that.